Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Bring the Noise here on Bleacher Report every single week. Myself, Danny Kleppinger, joined by Brad Evans, will walk you through every single game on the slate today and then Monday Night Football as well, giving you your best boom, bust, or bank picks. Of course, the little gambling sprinkled in there as well. But anything you want to know about your fantasy football lineup, shoot us those questions right now. We're monitoring the chat on both the Bleacher Report app and on YouTube. Brad, how you doing?
I am splendid. I am spectacular. I was snowed in yesterday, digging myself out of Casa de Evans, but Illinois got a victory. I ain't complaining, DK, because my stomach is still full for all the gluttony I enjoyed on Thursday.
Yeah, loved the Thursday Thanksgiving feast, that's for sure. But football yesterday didn't. I just would like to erase everything that happened yesterday. Tennessee lost, Oregon State got smoked. I mean,
Yeah.
it just was a bad football. Football sucked yesterday. So let's make it better. Let's get those questions in about your fantasy football moves here and start off with this Niners Browns matchup. Niners are favored by 5, which makes sense because they've won double the number of games that the Browns have won. But Browns defense pretty good. 4th in DVOA, second fewest passing yards per game. And Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions against the Panthers. So, Brad, what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, it's going to be a low scoring affair. I've got a lot of questions about this game due to the meteorological impacts there in that part of the country.
Yeah.
I think the precip is going to be moved out by game time. There's supposed to be a lull in storm systems, so not going to ramp back up and in maybe liquid form until 4 p.m. at local time. So the game is going to be long over with, but the winds are going to be an issue. Sustained, that means consistent winds of 24 to 27 miles an hour expected along the shores of Lake Erie with gusts as high as 44, according to the National Weather Service. So I've been monitoring this game all week, and as a result, I think it's going to be a lot of dump-off action. Give me CMC on the over. 38 and a half receiving yards as a result there, DK. Guy has done this in every game this season, all 12 of them. He has been a king in consistency, probably going to catch 5 balls, got a nickel and dime his way to at least 40 receiving yards. So far and away, my top play. And of course, he's must start material against Shedeur Sanders and friends.
Well, speaking of Shedeur Sanders, okay, he wasn't terrible last week.
Not great, but
11
not
of the
terrible.
20,
Yeah.
20 passing attempts, 209 yards. 209 yards is significantly above where his passing yards line is at. It's at 155 and a half. I understand you're saying it's windy, but there's something about the ego that makes me think he's going to air it out, literally. So over 155 and a half, I just think it's slightly too low. Give him a little bit of respect off of what he was able to do and still hold on to that starting spot. Say what you want about the guy, but I do think he can eclipse 156 passing yards. We're already getting some questions rolling in. Remember, we are paying attention to both the Bleacher Report app and YouTube. Alex Rod needs 2 running backs, Brees Hall, RJ Harvey, Irving, or Henderson today.
Well, Henderson's automatically in the matchup tomorrow. You're going to hear about him later on in the show. Do you roll the dice on Bucky Irving? No, I wouldn't do that. I actually go with Brees Hall with the other there. That game is going to be hideous. It's going to be disgusting, but a very beatable defense there in the ATL. So those are my top 2 choices, Travion and Brees Hall.
Yeah, you and I are both on that Travion Henderson bandwagon. We'll talk about that Monday Night Football game a bit later on, but would you choose him over Harvey? Solar Quartz is asking.
Yeah, far and away. Look, I love RJ Harvey's matchup against Washington, but here's what I know about Sean Payton. He is an adoring fan of the RBBCs, which is a better word in the world of fantasy. So as a result, I can't trust RJ Harvey doing anything more than maybe like 50 yards and a touchdown. I think Trayvon's got a great shot at hitting the century mark with that TD.
Well, since there's another Henderson question here, I figured we just throw it in there. It's Leo Tejeda wants to know, he needs you to pick 2, actually. Henderson, Neil, Rico, or Bucky?
I'm going to go with Rico and Travion. Look, I know Rico was surrendering some touches to Chuba Hubbard, but far more upside than the other guys mentioned there. Again, Travion is going to be the bee's knees. He's a guy that you're going to absolutely love this week. I'm not exaggerating. I don't think it's outlandish to say, again, 100 yards and a touchdown very much on the table against the New York Giants, who are dead last in the NFL and rush EPAD.
Yeah, we'll repeat that a bit later on when we get to that Monday Night Football matchup. Let's move on to Jacksonville and Tennessee. These are two AFC South Division rivals, of course, heading in different directions. Jags are in contention for the division title. Tennessee trying to get that first overall pick at this point. I do like Jacoby Myers, however, to go over 3.5 receptions. He's got
Yeah.
12 of his 15 targets. He's had 6 targets in his last 2 games. And 4+ catches in 8 of 10 games this season. And you're going up against a Tennessee secondary that stinks. They allow the third highest completion rate in the NFL. So I like Jacoby Myers to still have a decent game, at least 4 receptions there. Who are you looking at, Brad?
Yeah, cue the doors in the background. When you're strange, I'm gonna go Britton Strange. Give me the over on Stranger Things at 3.5 receptions at a plus 130 on that prop. I got seduced by the juice, DK,
Yeah.
because if you look at the matchup, it's outstanding. As Tennessee's over 29 and drop back EPA defense, they give up 5.1 receptions per game that hide in position. And Strange has done this in 4 of 6. So across the middle of the field, I think he's going to operate somewhat uninhibitedly. All I need is 4 grabs of cash. And yes, folks, I think he's a TE1 in 12-team fantasy leagues this week as well.
See these questions rolling in. Buzzbomb wants to know Waller or Pitts?
Not Darren Waller, the shot caller. He's occasionally a baller, but somebody I cannot trust coming off the injury list. So give me Kyle Pitts.
I actually think there's a chance Kyle Pitts hits the end zone. So we'll talk about that here in just a
Yeah.
moment. He also wants to know Cleveland or Chargers defense.
I actually roll with Cleveland. Look, the over-under in that game is 35.5. Wins are going to play a massive factor. It's going to suppress a lot of the offensive outputs. The balls of, if they are thrown 10, 15, 20 yards down the field, they could flutter in the air, hang in the air. Maybe that's a pick, and it could lead to a pick six. So I don't really trust either offense in this game outside of maybe CMC in the dump-off game. But yeah, go with the Cleveland Browns. That is definitely the call for me.
G. Smith wants to know, would you go with Darnell Mooney for the flex position or Woody Marks?
Give me Woody Marks. Kirk Cousins, is he at all trustworthy? No. Mooney had that long bomb for a touchdown last week. I think that is certainly the upside that he possesses, but can he get that in a game in, game out basis? I don't think so. Woody Marks, guaranteed touches, run the ball effectively here of late, and he's got a premium matchup. Take advantage of it.
We've got a couple quarterback questions here, 3 in a row. So let's start with Chadwick. Stroud or Purdy?
I'll go CJ Stroud all day.
Silent Knight wants to know Dart or Josh Allen?
Really? Josh Allen, do you think Dart's going to run a lot? I don't.
Good point. And Bruce wants to know Baker or Darnold?
Oh, man. Can you trust Baker Mayfield with that dinged wing? I don't. Give me Sam Darnold. Probably got a safer floor, believe it or not.
All right, let's keep this thing rolling. Texans and Colts. Colts are favored by just a field goal in this one. They're Texans, however, are coming in this one with 3 straight wins, and the Colts have lost 2 of their last 3 games. But back home, for the first time since week 8, they've been on the road for a while. I do think Jonathan Taylor can go over 85.5 rushing yards. I'm surprised this is so low. If you look at his career against the Texans, he's averaging 120.5 per game. So that's quite above 85.5. What about you, Brad? Who are you looking at? A wide receiver?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it was a plus money available on this offering when I booked it earlier this week. Nico Collins, 70 plus receiving yards at a plus 104. It's little baby seduced by the juice there, DK. Highly trustworthy WR1, in my opinion. Yes, I understand the Colts are number 9 in drop back EPAD, but they've given up the 8th most wide receiver yards on the season. And even though he's going to go against Sauce Gardner, Nico has done this in 3 of his last 4. He is top 12 in the NFL among all eligible wide receivers in total air yards. I think it takes off today.
Let's take a look at that Dolphins Saints game, shall we? The Dolphins have won 2 straight, 3 of their last 4 after they started the season 1-6. They're favored by 5.5 in this one. Oh, you're going to my guy. I love the Waddle.
I know you're a big fan of the Waddle dance, and I'm a big fan of him piling up some yards. Give me the over on 70.5 receiving yards. It's the 8s. They broke out the brown paper bags put over the head for a reason because they're not defending worth a damn on the back end, number 24 in drop back EPA defense this season. And if you look at Waddle, he's done this in 5 of his last 7 games. Who else is really Tua have to throw the ball to? Are you going to trust Malik Washington? You going to trust anybody else in this receiving core? No, he is going to uncork early and often to Waddle. I can't believe this is 70.5. He may hit the century mark today.
Achan can have a big game too, though, I think, on the ground. It's 78 and a
Yeah.
half rushing yards, and the Saints have allowed 123 and a half rushing yards per game this season. 80 doesn't seem like that much. He's gone over this in 2 straight, 4 of his last 6, and he's coming off 2 of his best games of his career, 174 against the Bills, 120 against the Commanders. So I think 78 and a half is quite low for Devon there. Let's get into some of these questions on the Bleacher Report app and over on YouTube. Baker or Lawrence, who would you start? Derek wants to know.
Again, you're not going to clack and roll the dice. If you have a suitable crutch to lean on, that's Trevor Lawrence. He's the play.
Vidal, Neal, or Michael Wilson in a 2.5 PPR.
It needs 2. I'm assuming.
Start. Oh, I see that. I reread. Let me read that. Start 2.5 PPR league.
Okay.
Vidal, Neal, and Michael Wilson. My bad over there, Sarwara.
Yeah, look, Devin Neal sits. I think you got to 100% go with Kamani Vidal. I think he's going to lead that game in rush yards. And Michael Wilson, holy mackerel, has he been effective? Even Marvin Harrison back off the appendectomy. I think he is the WR1 through and through, at least in the mind and the eyes of his quarterback, that being Jacoby Brissett.
Shakir or Tet McMillan?
Do you maximize a matchup with Khalil Shakir? Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go that route.
So.
Probably more touchdown appeal. You're gonna go Ted?
I have him as a touchdown a bit later on when we get to that game. I think he gets in the end zone.
All right, you and I will agree to disagree.
No, Shakir. We're not.
Oh, you're gonna go with Shakir.
We're on the same page.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike then, DK.
Yeah, we love that. Falcons, Jets. Jets obviously haven't thrown in the towel in the season. After picking up the first 2 wins, they failed to find another last 2 weeks. But Falcons favored by a field goal in this one. I already said it, so I'm just going to say it again. Kyle Pitts, I think he finds the end zone. You can get that at plus 250. That's wild. Drake London sidelined with an injury. Jets have allowed 7 touchdowns to opposing tight ends this season. That's tied for second most in the NFL. So plus 250, Brad, I loved it.
Yeah, my mouth is watering at that plus 250. That's utterly redonkulous. I'm going to go with John Mechie. I'm going to take the over 38.5 receiving yards. Also took the over on 3.5 receptions as well. The coaching staff, not me, their words, not mine, have described him as their version of Amon-Ra St. Brown. High praise for one John Mechie, but he's a guy being utilized in a similar capacity. A lot of short to intermediate targets. He's found the end zone in back-to-back games, gone north of 38.5 receiving yards in back-to-back games. The trend will be thy friend, DK. Give me the over on 38.5 receiving yards for John Mechie. Some flexy, sexy appeal in deeper leagues this week.
Get those questions in for your last second fantasy football starts or sits. We are looking at the chats, Bleacher Report app, and YouTube. Jay Lee, Metcalf, Neal, Vidal, or Mooney at the flex position in a full PPR.
I'm going to go Vidal. Go with the guaranteed touches there. I know you got the big name at DK Metcalf. Buffalo, though, pretty stiff and staunch on the back end. Vidal, he's got to get at least 15 to 17 touches with no Amari Hampton, so I ride with him.
Oh, you talked about Strange earlier. Would you pick Strange or Gadsden? Joel wants to know.
Oh, really close here on this one. I'm going to go with Britton Strange. Again, I think he's got to catch at least 4 balls. Like he's got a really good shot of 50-plus yards. Gadsden may have a little bit more touchdown appeal, but in terms of the floor, I think it's higher for Strange.
Jaden Higgins or Aaron Jones?
Oh, yuck. Max Brosmer related or Jaden Higgins? I'm going to go with Higgins. I mean, Jones may catch like 4 or 5 balls. That could be a saving grace for him. Is he going to find the end zone? I think it's far-fetched. Is he going to do much of the ground? Probably not because of the overloaded front. So, again, I'm talking myself out of anything to do with Aaron Jones. Go with Higgins.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the under on his rushing yards here when we get to that game. Let's get to Bucks Cardinals first, however, because they've each lost 3 straight. You and I are both on Jacoby Brissett's train, though, today.
Yeah, look, the brisket's going to be oh so tender and loving in the box score. I'm going to take the over 1.5 passing touchdowns at a minus 105 is what I grab at a BetMGM. You look at Tampa, number 18 to drop back EPAD this season. They're giving up 1.72 passing touchdowns per game. A half dozen quarterbacks have at least thrown a pair against them, including the last 3 straight weeks. Brissett is on fire right now,
Yeah.
DK. He has gone over this prop in 5 of his last 6. He's top 15 in red zone completion percentage. I mean, he has been a du jour and quite the delight down the home stretch. He scored at least 19 fantasy points in 6 straight games.
Yeah.
Love me some Brissett today.
Yeah, he's averaging just about 315 passing yards as well. So I think the fact that this is at 266 and a half is a little disrespectful. The Bucks passing
Yeah.
defense has surrendered the sixth most yards. He's gone no fewer than 258 in all 6 of his starts, which I realize is a little bit lower than this 266 and a half number, but he's passed for at least 300 yards 3 times, including each of his last 2 games. So I do think, even though those running backs have been banged up, all season. So I don't think the Cardinals are going to lean on their ground game all that often today.
Yeah.
So go through the air. Jacoby Brissett, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, over 266 and a half passing yards. Brad and I are all on Brissett today. Let's talk about Rams and Panthers, because the Panthers, it's an interesting situation, right? They're very much in the mix to win the NFC South, as the Bucks continue to figure out what the heck's going on. But the Rams are playing great, if not some of the best football in the entire league at this point. What do you think is going to happen here? The Rams are favored by 10. Are you all about the Rammies in this one?
Yeah, the Rams are a juggernaut right now. So let's go with an SGP. Let's correlate, synergize, and bring it all together, DK. I'll take Matty Stafford, 2+ passing touchdowns. And who's going to catch one of those 2? Well, of course, going to be Devontae Adams. The future Hall of Famer has been unreal with the toe taps this season. You put those hands together, you get an even juice at a plus 100 there at BetMGM. Carolina on number 25 and drop back EPAD. They've given up 4 2+ passing touchdown quarterbacks this season. And look at Stafford. He's top 5 on red zone completion percentage. He's thrown at least a couple of airstrikes in 9 of 11 games. And Adams has scored a TD in 5 straight. And his primary assignment, JC Horn, has given up 4 touchdowns this season. So again, SGP, Stafford, 2+ pass CDs, Devontae Adams, anytime touchdown, plus 100. I'm in.
Yeah, I get what you're saying here. I do think it's going to be very lopsided in favor of the Rams. So Kyron Williams going over 65 and a half rushing yards. I just feel like they may just give him the ball the second half as they just continue to close things out and he gets some of those extra yardage there. Let's get into Minnesota and Seattle before we get to some more of these questions here. The Seahawks are favored by 12 as Sam Darnold faces his former team. We already talked about this, and there's some questions rolling in on Aaron Jones. So let's just double down on this narrative. I do think he's going under 45 and a half rushing yards today. He's gone over that number just twice this season, and the Seahawks have just done such a phenomenal job at stopping the run this season. So fading Aaron Jones today for me, Brad, and you as well.
Yeah, well, to a certain extent. I think he makes some hay in the pass game as a dump off option for the very green Max Brosmer under center. So I like the over on 17.5 receiving yards, which he has done consistently. And you look at Seattle, they have really struggled in short field coverage. They're giving up 5.6 receptions per game, just to the running back position. And Jones has done this in 3 of 7. So I think he'll be a nice little safety valve for the young, inexperienced quarterback today. So I'm with you on rush yards. I do like him, though, as a receiver.
In a receiving position. Okay, look, we've got 4 more games to get to. Get those questions continuing to roll in here. We are about 40 minutes away from kickoff. E. Garza wants to know Sutton or Myers today.
Sutton, man, you got to take advantage of the Washington Commanders. They are the dregs of the keg, literally, in drop back EPA defense. So number 32 in the NFL, take advantage of that.
Woe all day. Who should start at tight end? Brenton Strange, Fannin, or Gadsden?
Again, we're getting a lot of these questions. Strange, Gadsden. Now you got Harold Fannin in the mix. He is out of there because of the meteorological impacts and the stiff winds in Cleveland. So I'm still going to go with Brenton Strange. It's really close between him and Gadsden. Gadsden may have a little bit more touchdown appeal, but I think you have the higher floor, as I mentioned, in yards of receptions with a Jaguar.
Robbie Schmurda wants to know Daniel Jones or CJ Stroud.
Do you trust Daniel Jones and that fractured fibula? I don't. I saw the video of him practicing, quote unquote, in full yesterday, DK. He could barely stinking
That's a
move. I will go with
hard.
CJ Stroud.
That is a hard injury.
Yes.
Zachary Gleason, Tez, Pearsall, Pierce, or Parker Washington could play two if he benches BTJ.
No, I play BTJ, and I'm going to go with Alec Pierce. It's not the greatest matchup in the world, but he is a big play catch machine. If Daniel Jones can actually take a snap, take three, drop back steps,
Yeah.
and do so cleanly and get rid of the ball, he'll take a shot downfield, probably a time or three against the secondary with Alec Pierce. So I roll with Pierce.
Dave wants to know Henry or Dalton Schultz.
I'm going to go with Dalton Schultz. I love both these guys. I think Hunter Henry has significant touchdown appeal, and so does honestly Dalton Schultz. Indianapolis, if you look at their biggest weakness, is defending the tight end. I think Schultz got to catch at least 5 balls. I think it's going to be north of 50 yards. And let's give him I don't know, a 25 to 30% chance to pull that number out of my ass to score a touchdown.
Let's go with Cody's question here. Higgins or DK at the flex?
Higgins, again, for the reasons I mentioned, a lot of touchdown appeal. He is a red zone sore thumb that really sticks out due to the height, and there's increasing confidence in him, whether it's from Mills or today it'll be from CJ Stroud.
Well, Mikey wants to know Dowdle or Shakir for his flex position this week, but we are talking about this Bills Steelers game next. Bills are favored by 3. I already mentioned it, so I'm just going to say it again because it's at plus money for Shakir to get into the end zone. The Steelers are allowing the most receptions and yards to opposing receivers, which means he could have a really big game here. And he really is the only reliable receiver for the Bills this season. Leads the team receptions and receiving yards. And you're getting plus 190 for him to get into the end zone. I think Shakir over Dowdle today. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest play. Rico typically is who I side with. I just don't like the matchup, and obviously the RBB split there with Chuba Hubbard. Shakir is going to be the point of emphasis vertically for the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to fade Aaron Rodgers in this game. He's got the 3 small fractures in his non-throwing hand. That was released earlier today. That's going to play a factor. I'm going to live in laying down under, and I grabbed at 209.5. I think the number is down like 200.5, and the Bills are number 6 in drop back EPA defense. So it's not going to be a great day. Shouldn't be for Aaron Rodgers in the pass game. He is going to look ancient and crustified.
Oh my goodness. What a terrible word. I hate that. Crustified? Gross.
Crustified, yeah.
M. Taylor needs one wide receiver, Sutton, DK, or Johnson. Quentin Johnson.
Well, God, it's so untrustworthy. Give me Cortland Sutton. Again, I'm a matchup advocate, and it doesn't get any better than a matchup against the Commanders.
Completely agree with you. Actually, I have a Cortland Sutton prop for you in just a moment here.
Ooh.
Let's get back to Alex Rod, my second fantasy league. He needs one running back, Dowdle, Neal, or Vital.
I'm going to go Vidal there. It's close between him and Rico. Devin Neal, no, get out of my mind. Get out of this question.
Okay, well, Neal's in another question. Start 3. Probably not Neal, based off of what you just said. Uncle Rico, Hall, Vidal, or Neal. Full PPR.
Bye again, Devin Neal. You're gone.
Jay Gonza, happy late turkey day. Happy Thanksgiving. We appreciate you joining us here. Mooney or Johnson or Algier in the flex position?
Algier's got a lot of touchdown appeal. I'm going to go with Tyler Algier. I think he's got the safer floor there. Something like 35, 40 rushing yards and that TD. Very doable, very attainable.
Let's talk about this Chargers-Raiders matchup, this all AFC West clash here. Raiders looking to end a 5-game losing streak. Herbert is coming off his worst performance of his career, or at least one of the worst. But for whatever reason, I'm going back to the well and saying that he's going to get over 1.5 touchdowns today because he's actually cashed the over in passing touchdowns in 3 of his last 5. He has 12 touchdowns in 6 home games compared to just 7 on the road. That Raiders pass defense, 18th in the league. They're allowing 25 points per game. I just think he corrects himself here, especially after getting yanked early last week, Brad.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think Keenan Allen's number is way too low. I pounded the over earlier this week at 39.5 receiving yards, and I'm sticking to it. I think it's going to be north of 50 in this game. You look at Viva Las Vegas, number 22 in dropback EP defense, have allowed nine of the ninth most wide receiver yards. 20 wide receivers have hit the 40-yard mark against him. He's going to see Eric Stokes, a guy he already lit up for 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown back in week 2. I think it's going to be more of the same, like Keenan Allen in the receiving yards prop market, and like him as a WR3 in fantasy.
Keep those questions rolling in. Bleacher Report app and on YouTube. We're monitoring both. We now just have the Sunday night football game to talk about and the Monday night game as well. Look at these questions here. E-Money, Ted or Michael Wilson for a flex spot in a full PPR?
I'm going to go with Michael Wilson. Again, he is the WR1. I don't think that's really going to change with Marvin Harrison back.
J-Tube in a PPR, would you take Olave or Waddle? Oh, you talked about Waddle earlier.
I love both these guys this week, but when in doubt, I will go with a better quarterback, and I guess that's Tua. So give me Waddle.
You talked about Strange a lot. Would you take Strange, Waller, or Kittle?
I still go George Kittle there. Again, the short pass game is going to be on point, whether for Cleveland or for San Francisco. And in goal-to-go situations, Kittle is always a threat to spike one home. Would not be surprised if he does score a touchdown today with around 40 yards. So give me Kittle.
Debo or Judkins on flex? Kevin wants to know.
Oh, slam dunk. It's Quinshon Judkins. This could be a 20 carry game for him. I think Cleveland will be competitive, and San Francisco has been oh so gashable this season in the trenches. A very weak and lackluster defense overall. So give me Quinshon.
Hey, Boss 88 wants to know if you should be starting Bucky today.
What are your other options, brah? This is a really open-ended question. So let me do a little fearless forecast for you. I think Bucky Irving's going to get 13 carries. I think Bucky Irving gets around 45 rush yards. Bucky Irving catches like 2 balls for like 8 yards, maybe a touchdown. That's it. They're going to ease him back in. He's going to be on a pitch count. And Sean Tucker has come alive. They want to continue to get him the ball with a little Rachaad White mixed in as well.
All right, we're sneaking in on 30 minutes till kickoff. So let's get into the Sunday night football matchup. Denver and Washington. The Broncos are favored by 6.5. They're off to a 9-2 start. That's just insane. And Jaden Daniels obviously has that elbow injury. Brad, who are you looking at?
Oh! First, I'm going to take my guy and Pat Bryant, who led the team last week in receiving yards, folks. I'm taking the over on I got a 20.5 receiving yards. It's absurdly low. Here's how crazy I am, DK. I even took him to have the most receiving yards in the game at 15-1 on BetMGM. I think that's on the table. Yeah, I think he is going to be a sneaky, effective WR3 and 12-team and deeper fantasy leagues. Bryant's snap share is growing. He's getting between 50 to 60% there. The amount of routes he is running is also growing. The confidence in him is growing, and it's Washington, the league's worst pass defense. Need I say more? Pat Bryant, 70 yards and a touchdown, entirely doable under the primetime lights.
Let's get into a couple more of these questions. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. Cortland Sutton over 49.5 receiving yards. I did mention Sutton earlier. He's got at least 50 receiving yards in 7 of the 11 games he's played. In Washington's defense is one of the worst in football. So I do think he can still have a decent game. 50 yards is not asking for too much out of Cortland Sutton in this one. Let's look at Tyler Warren or Harold Fannin Jr. for Demetrius.
Tyler Warren or Heron Fannin Jr. I'm going to go with Tyler Warren. I know he's dealing with an illness, but still, they'll get fluids in his system. They'll pop a couple of pills. He should be okay. I would play him.
Egbuka, Vidal, Neal, Michael Wilson. You got to pick 2.
Egbuka, Vidal, Neal, Michael Wilson. God, so many Neal questions. Egbuka is in, and Michael Wilson is in.
Big Pharma RX flex play in a full PPR. Jacoby Myers, Woody Marks, or is that supposed to be Charbonnet? I'm going to assume.
I am actually going with Charbonnet all day. I think he's got a great shot at like 45 to 55 rush yards. I think he's got to find the end zone as well. Heavy favorites are Seattle.
All right, we got one more game to talk about here, and then we'll get in these last few questions that we've got going on because we are creeping in, like I said, on 30 minutes till kick. That Monday night football matchup between the Giants and the Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 7.5 right now. We've been saying this all day long, and if you're just joining us, Brad and I are very high on Travion Henderson. I think he gets into the end zone. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I concur with you, Captain. He's going to get in the end zone. I will even slap together 45 plus rush yards, somehow get to plus money on that SGP at a plus 102.
Wow, really?
Travion Henderson. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I felt the same way when I built that sucker earlier today. Travion's going to be in the conversation possibly for 100 rush yards, as I've already mentioned. I think he will find the end zone. You concur with me on that. I think he's going to be at least a top 15 fantasy running back through and through because the Giants are number 32 in rush EPD. They're giving up over 6 yards a carry just to running backs. Play the man, play him.
Great stuff. Yeah, I think he gets into the end zone as well. All right, we went through every single game on the slate. Let's get these last questions in here as we approach 30 minutes till kickoff. DM Pleasant, Otten, or Schultz?
Really close between both these guys. I actually have them similarly ranked, but give me Dalton Schultz.
Cy Gray, Gene T, or Dowdle?
Genty, easy.
Marvin Harrison Jr., DK Metcalf, or Quentin Johnson?
DK Metcalf, and I don't feel great about it.
Nick says loves our show. Thanks, Nick. We appreciate you. He's got a PPR, a half PPR flex position that he needs to fill here. Mooney or QJ or Quentin Johnson?
Man, both these guys, similar territory with their inconsistency. I will roll the dice on Quentin Johnson.
And then he also wants to know Warren or Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill.
Not Taysom Hill. Look, I understand Taysom Hill may get like 6 to 8 carries in the game. He's always a threat in the end zone, but it's a bit of a wild card. I got to go with Warren.
DZ was also wondering about Taysom Hill today. Do you think you like him or no?
No, I mean, it depends on what your other options are. I think he's a deep heave, Hail Mary chuck at the flex or the tight end position in like a 14-teamer.
Let's get like 7 more questions in. How's that sound? 90s action hero,
Yeah.
Tucker, Ted McMillan, or Juwan Jennings, go Vols, full PPR.
There I would go Ted McMillan.
All right. Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins?
Oh my God, yuck. Baker Mayfield, never Kirk Cousins.
Jason, hopefully that got you ready to go there. Pick 2, Wilson, MHJ, BTJ, or Pittman.
I am going to go with Wilson, and I will go with Brian Thomas.
Tyler Warren or Harold Fannin Jr. Demetrius is popping in wondering that.
Not Warren. Don't get cute.
Robbie Schmerda, Michael Wilson, or Vidal?
Ooh, close. If it's a full point PPR, I go Michael Wilson. If it's a standard or half point, I go Vidal.
Pick 2, Wandale, Diggs, or Debo for Kyle.
Sit Debo.
Sit Debo. Okay, and 2 more. Help, please. And there's alerts on it, so we got you here. Shakir, Waddle, or Michael Wilson.
I will go with Jalen Waddle. Very close though between him and Wilson.
Okay, well, there's one more Wilson question, and this one we're going to end on. Ricardo Rodriguez wants to know if pick 1, Olave, BTJ, Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, or Terry McLaurin.
Not Terry McLaurin. Olave is really close to Wilson. I think that game in Tampa is going to be a pew, pew, pew shootout. Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson, it is. Thanks so much, guys, for throwing in your questions. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll be here next week as well. Have some fun, eat the leftovers, make some money.
Adios, amigos.